Chapter 7. The Return. The cellar held its breath. Nesrine could feel the darkness pressing against her skin, thick and intimate, as though the house itself were trying to fold her into its memory. Arthur's hand tightened around her arm, steady but tense. Above them, the voice drifted down the staircase again, calm, unhurried, threaded with a familiarity that made the air colder. "You shouldn't be down there." The sixth guest. He sounded almost amused. Arthur leaned close, whispering, "We need to move." "No sudden noise," Nesrine murmured. "He's listening." The cellar was so quiet she could hear the faint drip of water from the ceiling, the slow settling of dust, the soft pulse of her own heartbeat. She reached for her torch but didn't switch it on. Light would give them away. Light would make them targets. The man's footsteps began descending the stairs, slow, deliberate, each one placed with the confidence of someone who knew the house better than its foundations. Nesrine exhaled once silently, then she moved. She guided Arthur toward the far side of the cellar, where the shadows were deepest and the stone pillars offered cover. They slipped behind one just as the man reached the bottom step. He paused. The darkness seemed to lean toward him. "I knew you'd come down here," he said softly. "Everyone does eventually. The house pulls you in. It always has." Arthur's jaw clenched, but he stayed silent. The man stepped forward, his silhouette barely visible in the faint spill of light from the stairwell. He walked with the ease of someone returning to a familiar room, someone who had spent countless nights in the cold, damp quiet of the cellar, building a world no one else could see. "I lived here," he said. "Not upstairs with them. They had the sunlight, the laughter, the terrace. I had this." His hand brushed the mural on the wall, and Nesrine heard the faint rasp of skin against charcoal. "They never came down," he continued. "Not once. Not even when I asked." Nesrine felt Arthur shift beside her, a subtle movement of anger or pity. She couldn't tell which. The man turned slightly as though sensing them. "You found my notebooks," he said. "My drawings. My truth." Nesrine stepped out from behind the pillar. Arthur hissed her name under his breath, but she ignored him. The sixth guest didn't flinch. He smiled. "I knew it would be you," he said. "You're the only one who listens." Nesrine kept her voice steady. "You came back." "I never left," he replied. "Not really." He moved closer, the dim light catching the sharp angles of his face. Rainwater dripped from his hair, tracing thin lines down his cheeks like tears he refused to shed. "You shouldn't have run," Nesrine said. "I didn't run," he corrected. "I waited. I wanted you to see what they did to me, what they made me." Arthur stepped forward now, unable to stay hidden any longer. "They didn't make you kill them." The man's expression shifted. Not anger, but something colder. "They made me invisible," he said. "Do you know what that does to a person? To be the one always left out of the photograph, the conversation, the memory?" He gestured toward the mural. "I drew them because they forgot me. I drew myself because I refused to disappear." Nesrine took a slow step forward. "You brought them back here? You planned it?" "Yes," he said simply. "I invited them to dinner. One last gathering. One last chance to see me." "And when they didn't?" she asked. His smile returned. Thin, brittle, tragic. "I made them stay." Arthur's voice was low. "You poisoned them." "No," the man said. "I freed them." The cellar seemed to tighten around them, the air thick with the weight of his conviction. Nesrine's voice softened. "You came back tonight to finish something." He nodded. "To finish myself." He reached into his coat. Arthur lunged forward, but Nesrine raised a hand, stopping him. The man pulled out not a weapon, but a small folded piece of paper. He held it out to Nesrine. "This is the last thing I wrote," he said. "The last thing I needed to say." Nesrine didn't take it. "What does it say?" He unfolded it slowly, reverently. "It says," he whispered, "that I forgive them." Arthur stared at him, stunned. Nesrine's breath caught. The man looked up, his eyes shining with something fragile and dangerous. But forgiveness, he said, isn't the same as forgetting. He stepped back toward the stairs. Nesrine moved instinctively. Stop, he shook his head. I came to say goodbye. Then he turned and ran. Arthur sprinted after him, but the man was fast, impossibly fast, his footsteps echoing up the stone stairs, swallowed by the storm above. Nesrine reached the staircase just as the cellar door slammed shut. The house shuddered, and the sixth guest vanished into the storm.